We were told we could be anything, that we're special, but no one warned us what it would feel like to grow up and realize we're not. Gen Z have grown up. That is the fact that most of us are only starting to catch up to now. And one of the craziest things about living in this generation of the internet and social media is that we all got to witness it together in real time. An entire generation grow up with hopes and dreams, bright ideas, slowly gain self-awareness, and then get slapped in the face by reality. You know, it felt like it was just yesterday. The pandemic had just started. Gen Z were just kids running around whose biggest worries in life was, what's the next big TikTok trend? But that was 5 whole years ago. And if you pay attention to today, these same kids are now talking about burnout, about the mental health crisis, how it's deteriorated, about how dating feels broken, how young men and women were taught to hate each other, and how life in general is simply not what we were promised as kids. And on top of all that, no one prepared us for what it would actually be like. No one showed us how to live this postmodern life that's never been lived before. So, let's take it a step back and break it down, yeah? What exactly happened in the last 10 years? And how did an entire generation get hit so damn hard? Well, it turns out raising an entire generation with social media and looking up to stupid influencers as role models from a young age wouldn't give you the best outcome. We were sold on highlight reels and led to believe that that's what life actually looks like. Oh, he's buying his first G-Wagon? Huh, not bad. At 22? At 22? Bruh. Oh, what? She landed another brand deal? This time with a luxury skincare line? Slay! We were sold on the idea that we would all become millionaires. How exactly? I don't know, but we're all special, so we're all bound to be destined for great things, right? Most of us have become so out of touch with reality that we expect to live life on easy mode. I mean, have you seen the comment section on those day in a life of a 9-to-5 worker type videos? And the worst part is, that is not even a depressing video by any means. Like, bro's just living a normal ass life. And so, as we've matured, we've slowly started to realize that all that crap we were fed as kids, all the shit that we were promised, could not have been further from the truth. And as we educate ourselves on the actual statistics on things like becoming a self-made millionaire or having financial freedom, we're waking up to the fact that most of us will never even come close to that dream. Or maybe that dream wasn't even what we wanted in the first place. They inflated our dreams and expectations like a balloon. Shiny, overfilled, floating just out of reach. And then when reality came, we were left with nothing. As a result, of course we'd be lost without direction and resentful for being fed a lie. And that's not even the end of it, okay? It gets worse. Throw on top of all that, how absolutely fried our brains have become from all the years of consuming social media since very young. Now we don't even know how to map out a realistic long-term plan so that we can, actually work towards and hopefully one day reach our goals of becoming successful, happy, or whatever it is that you want. In other words, not only were we not handed the millions that we were led to believe, but now the majority of us have been stripped of the very tools to even build that ourselves. The ability to delay gratification, the ability to persist and continue working even when you don't see results straight away. I mean, the average Gen Z will dip as soon as the first thing they try doesn't end up working out. So yeah, future doesn't look too bright, does it? But look, this video wasn't made to send you all spiraling into depression, okay? So I'll be for real now. Yes, society failed us. And yes, we were thrown into this world without a map. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that overstimulation, destruction of attention spans, and constant comparison to an unrealistic ideal messes with your head, yeah? Especially when you're just a child with a developing brain. Of course, we would grow into a generation of lost young adults. Cool, we're on the same page. However, this is the other thing that no one is saying, okay? We didn't exactly failed to figure it out. It literally was not possible to figure it out at the time. No one gave us a blueprint because the blueprint didn't exist. And I'd argue it still doesn't, because no one, not the generation that came before us, not the one that came before them, knew how to live this kind of life. There's never been a precedent for this crazy ass world that we're in right now. Not even close. Yeah, influencers were terrible role models, but that's kind of just what happens when there's not exactly a better alternative. I mean, back when YouTube and the internet first started rolling around, nobody knew what they were doing. Everyone was winging it. And so now that we've grown up, we're the first ones to actually be seeking answers that we weren't given as kids. So this feeling that you have of being lost and behind, like you don't know where the finish line is or how to get there, maybe that's because the finish line doesn't even exist yet. In our time, that old idea of how life is supposed to go, get a stable job, find a partner and settle down at 22, have kids, pour your life savings into a mortgage, it doesn't hold up anymore. There is no longer one single correct way to live life. And yeah, that lack of structure can be scary, but I like to argue that might just be our advantage. The fact that we don't have to follow a system. Because let's remind ourselves, systems aren't always good. This has been shown throughout history. Broken systems exist and people have suffered from them. We can be the first ones to figure this out. How to live a meaningful life in this modern era. Not easy, but it's better than being lost and resentful forever, don't you think? So, what exactly can we do? Now, before I get into it, I want to make it very clear first, okay? This video here is not going to instantly give you your foolproof 10-year plan, okay? In fact, you don't even need a 10-year plan right now. That's going to take time for you to figure out slowly. I know that might not be what you wanted to hear, but remember, delayed gratification. Now, with that being said, what I do want to do, however, is to help you put one very important thing into perspective, okay? Listen. Remember the very thing that is at the root of all of these new issues that's come about in this modern era? No, I'm not talking about Jake Paul. Yes, the internet! Let's remind ourselves, the internet, with all of its faults, is still by far the most powerful tool we've ever been given. With all the information you could possibly ask for in an entire lifetime. Yes, the hard part is filtering through all the bullshit and all the noise, but ultimately, we have the most power over our lives than any generation that's come before, any of our ancestors. We have the ability to reshape our lives however we want. Our parents didn't have this luxury. They were under pressure to settle down at 22 and start a family. Remember that original system that I talked about before? And this should hit even harder if you have immigrant parents. They didn't come all the way over here to a new country to build a better future for their family just for you to fucking spend your whole day scrolling and frying your last 2 brain cells on fucking reels. Come on. So, like I said, this video won't miraculously fix all your problems or even give you a long-term plan. But if this video did resonate with you and it made you aware of some things that are very, very wrong with this generation, and now you can see that there are things that you can do about it, then what you can do, and may I suggest, start with a simple plan for what you're going to do for the rest of the week. Very simple, but for you right now, that is all you need. For instance, put down the phone, stop doom scrolling, delete some social media apps that you know aren't giving you any value, start going outside more, and spend time with people that actually matter. Take care of your health and your relationships. I know that 99% of you have at least one person in your life who you genuinely care about. So focus more on that person than what strangers online think about you through your lame-ass Instagram story that gets 23 views on a good day. And then, next time you see me, I will be back here with a video showing how to actually quit social media addiction, addressing the issues that are at the root of everything. Because yes, I know I just told you to delete it off your phone, right? But I know how it goes. By the time that you come back, all those apps that you just deleted are gonna somehow miraculously end up right back on your phone. I've seen it happen, you've seen it happen. We just can't stop these bad habits for some reason. And so that is when we will dive deep into all the psychology and start providing you with some real valuable practical advice, the step-by-step kind of stuff. So you already know, subscribe and stay tuned. And also this is the first ever video on this channel, so If you liked, then please do click the like button or whatever. You know the drill. I'm not good at this stuff. But I will say though, your support for small channels like this honestly means everything. So whatever you do is gonna be highly appreciated, okay? Truly. And with that, one last thing before I leave. Remember how I said at the start that they told us that we could be anything? Well, now it is on us to actually define what that really means. What I'm fucking saying is, let's show them.